I don't believe it. Not even 2 days and the exact location of Oda's One Piece has been found. In my previous video, I talked about how a Redditor has already figured out some clues of where the One Piece location might be, but in today's video, the same Redditor has now given us the exact locations. The Redditor who was able to figure out all this information is ZillLive, so shout out to them. So in today's video, we'll be checking out this entire Reddit post. This Reddit post is pretty big, but we'll be checking out the locations that we've been given, the evidence, how to actually try to find One Piece if you do want to try to find it yourself. But before we start with any of that, let me just start off with this information at the start. First and foremost, realize that what you are planning is against the law. This property, the One Piece, is not yours. So in the promotion video, Oda never told us to go find the One Piece, so these are the charges that you could be given. Theft of property. The One Piece is Oda's, so if you do get it, you know, he could possibly charge you for that. The jail time is 10 years, which you might think is crazy just for stealing something, but if you check Japan's history, there was a period where stealing was a big thing, so that's why, you know, theft in Japan is such a big thing. This is an example penalty right here, but shoplifting is one of the most commonly seen crimes in Japan. It is punishable as theft by up to 10 years imprisonment or a fine of 500,000 yen. 10 years in prison is a long time, so let's say hypothetically you find the One Piece and Oda charges you for taking his property. You will get either 10 years in prison or you pay 500,000 yen. You best believe to pay the 500,000 yen, which in USD it is only $3,000. But in some situations, they might not even allow you to pay a fine and you have to go to jail. Even if you try to get a defense lawyer just to, you know, say that, hey, he was just trying to find the One Piece, he's a big fan of One Piece. Let's just see 99.9 conviction rate in Japan, so you best believe you're not winning that case. You are going straight to jail. Bye bye. Unlawful salvage, interfering with scientific equipment, JAMSTEC. JAMSTEC is Japan Agency for Marine, Earth Science and Technology. They are the people who put the tracker and they're the one who dropped the One Piece for Oda. Environmental damage to seabeds, unauthorized marine operations. So you are driving a rover under the ocean without anyone's permission, so you are going to be in trouble for that. I didn't put any of the years for these because 10 years for just theft of property was crazy to me already. And before I move on to the evidence, I want to go over this message right here. I believe Oda made this PR event on purpose as a challenge, show him we will do the right thing and destroy it before someone else finds it and tries to sell it or spoil us. In my personal opinion, I don't believe Oda wanted to challenge us to go find it because, I mean, for one, he's got to make us criminals for doing this, and two, I think this is just for a promotion. This is just for him to celebrate that he is now, you know, really close of being the #1 comic book seller in the world, selling over 600 million copies of One Piece, which is crazy. But I do agree, if someone does find it, we need to destroy it straight away, because no spoilers, okay? Anyways, now moving on to the evidence that we have so far. So what we have so far is that we know it's within Japanese territory. This is confirmed. This is confirmed because in the video they use Japanese Coast Guards, and we can tell because it's the Coast Guard colors of the ship. Plus, this is just Coast Guard, so I would not assume they'll be going that far into the ocean for this project. Plus, if we do go that far, the seabeds will be really deep down. I don't think you can find anything 600 meters down. They'll probably be like 1,000 meters down. So I do think this is somewhere near Japan. Next up, it's 651 meters deep. This has already been confirmed with no bottom current, because if there was current at the bottom, then the One Piece would just like drift away in the ocean. So we'll never find it and it'll probably get destroyed. There is no land for 30 to 50 kilometers to the southwest. This is unconfirmed, but what we have seen in the pictures so far is that there's just no land. There could be land further ahead, but we just can't see it at this distance. This one's a little bit tricky, but I'm sure we'll figure it out soon because the internet's actually crazy. Planned by JAMSTEC, confirmed. This was the organization that dropped it for Oda, so they probably would have chosen a location that they have worked in before, which would be safe for the One Piece to stay at the bottom of the ocean at. And the map piece is unconfirmed. This is the map that they're talking about. They don't know where the location of this map is at. Now, after the evidence, we finally move on to the locations. These are the top 4 areas to look at, with the first one being the best to look at, with the last being the, don't search here first. The first location is Suruga Bay. This is the area right here, and this is also what the editor said last time in the previous post that I talked about in my previous video. They said it was in this bay. Now, you may be wondering, how do you know it's in this specific locations? Well, I'll show you right now. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but everything I used in today's video will be linked in the description below, so if you want to check something out for yourself, feel free to. Now, this website right here does show you the elevation of the area, so let's just put my pointer right here. Let's see this area right here. This is 466 meters, so as you can see, it is not 600, but if we put it somewhere else close, we can maybe try to get 600. Let me try to find one real quick. Boom, 686 meters. And now if we check the other side, like over here, 618 meters. See, so this area right here could be the position. The depths do match. So you can see right here, depths matches, which we just checked. No low bottom current, convenient to get to. High jam stack activity. Now, I'm not a genius, so I don't know how you can find low current activity. I mean, I guess since there's no lines on the map, there is like low current in the area, I think. Point is that it's also convenient to get to. So if you're like the organization dropping this One Piece in the ocean, you want it to be somewhere convenient to get to, which this area totally is. The land is so close nearby. And then southwest is over here. You see that there's no land in the horizon, so that's why in the video we saw no land. They also mentioned high jam stack activity, so the organization has been there before, worked, and the evidence is right here. Integrating the mud lifting, pipe, and mining equipment with Chiyuk's existing facilities was confirmed in Suruga Bay. So we know the organization has been around the area, been down there before, done some business over there, so I'm assuming that they would know that that area is a safe place to drop a One Piece down at. Now, I do have to say, with all the evidence for this location, I do think this is the top choice as well. But moving on to the second one, west of Nii-jima Island. That is Nii-jima Island, and that is the west of it. So if we do go on the map and put our marker right here, we can see that this is 558 meters. Hey, not too bad. So the One Piece could be here. It is, you know, southwest. There is nothing southwest. There's no islands, so it will be clear waters like we saw in the video. Nii-jima is an island and it's close by, so it's convenient to get to. They also mentioned low bottom current, jam stack activity with no website this time, but judging from this guy's evidence so far, it is, I would assume that they are telling the truth. So take that information with a grain of salt. Haha, ocean joke. Anyways, the next location is Toyama Bay. This is Toyama Bay right here. Now, if you clearly see southwest, there is land in the way, which is why I bring up this Reddit post. This Redditor has the evidence that it might be Toyama Bay, so let's check out their work. This is the website right here. I'll be just quickly going through it, but I'll link it in the description below for you to check out. Now, with this evidence, they actually used the maps from the video and draw out their own vector over here, thinking that it might be Toyama Bay, but not from the way you look at it, like the normal way. Because at the normal way, you know, southwest, there's land, it looks like this. But if you flip it 90 degrees to the left, you can clearly see it kind of looks like the One Piece map that they were showing. And if you draw the vector out like this right here shows that this might be the location. They also show off satellite images of Japan from February, showing that the sky looks like this, which kind of looks like the one from the One Piece video. They have a few dates over here, so that's pretty interesting to check out. But yeah, this editor thinks it's in Toyama Bay, but the one that we're talking about so far says land would absolutely be seen from southwest at this location, counter evidence. Which is exactly why if you flip it 90 degrees, then southwest you won't be able to see it. But then you have to think about the sun's position, but that doesn't matter. We'll let the geniuses on Reddit figure this one out. I'm not gonna figure that out. Anyways, the depth matches, no low bottom current, convenient to get to, high jam stack activity once again. Anyways, let's check the elevation real quick. As you can see, it matches 607 meters, pretty nice. Well, of course, it's not exactly 651. You have to like go around, you know, and trying to find a specific location, but you get the point, you know. And the last location is Kita Yamato Bank. No land for over 500 kilometers in the southwest direction. Depth matches, predictable and strong bottom current into certain locations, difficult to get to. Alright, so this is the location right here. Southwest, there is just a big body of water. As you can see, there's a lot of green lines. I am assuming that the green lines mean that there is currents there. If we go back in the Suruga Bay, you see there's no green lines. Same with Nii-jima Island, where there's one green line, but that wouldn't affect much, I would assume. I don't think it's here. Just due to the location. As you can see, Japan is in this corner, Korea is in that corner, and it's really far out in sea, and this does seem pretty dangerous to put the One Piece at. But let's just check the depth real quick. 1,300 meters. I would assume it's like we got a pretty big area to work with here. This will be really hard to find. That's why I would assume that's why they put it in the last position in like number 4. So yeah, if you are gonna find the One Piece, check out the first, second, and third first. But I wouldn't recommend finding it because how are you going to do it? Well, good for you. Look at this. They have steps on how you could do it. Oh my god. Okay, so with the steps, I'm going to talk over them real quick because let's be real, we're not going to find the One Piece. But if you are really interested about like how to actually do it, once again, I am linking this in the description below for you guys to check out. So yeah. Step 1, now we're done the search. If you were Jamstack, where would you drop a package you need to pick up later at an undisclosed time and place? So obviously you drop it somewhere you are familiar with and somewhere where the package wouldn't drift. I cross-reference the suspected locations with this website and only consider places that are 600 to 700 depth and ignore the others. Look for places where jam stacks worked out or near. Look for places with almost no bottom current. For flat areas or craters where the crater's depth is 600 meters. Step 2. Find the boat. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we need to have a look at the boat as well, because the boat, the bow right here, is a specific design. They do mention that because they have searched literally thousands of boats on Google Street View and have been unable to find this vessel, which is extremely important information. Because they're basically saying that this boat is very important, and if it's out in the public, then people will know, hey, that's the boat that they used for the One Piece, so we need to like hide this away. That or either Google Street View hasn't updated their locations recently, so that's why you can't find the boat on that app. But either way, if I was the organization, I would probably try to get rid of this bow, probably, you know, fix up the cabin as well, just to put the least amount of suspicion in the area that this boat resides. As they say, find the boat, find the One Piece. So yeah, if you do find that boat, you know the exact location. Step 3, find the exact location. This right here is a lot of information, so I'm putting it on the screen for you to read right here. But from my understanding, we are basically assuming that this location is somewhere around the coast of Japan. Then there's some more information and tips right here, so I'm putting on the screen for you to read if you want to. But if you're really interested, I highly suggest you to check out the Reddit post linked in the description. Anyways, that's all the new information I have today. Now, I don't know if any more information will come out soon. I feel like if we are going to get more information, like more big information, someone's actually going to go to one of these locations and try to find it themselves, which I don't know if someone's actually going to do that. I mean, it is a crime. I mean, like, Oda didn't say go find it. That he's just doing it for promotion. So yeah, but I'm sure someone crazy enough would actually do this sooner or later. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.